Okay, Rachel, are you ready to go?
Yes.
What are we doing?
I don't know. I thought you knew.
No, aren't you supposed to be running the show? Which guest have we got?
Don't make me the boss of stuff.
You're the boss of stuff.
Let's wing it.
And go.
Hi, welcome to the This Is My Voice podcast.
The podcast where we discuss all things voice performance and talk to some of the industry's best and brightest talent.
We're your hosts, Rachel Salas.
And Eddie Bye.
Eddie, I was thinking.
Were you?
Well,
What are you thinking about?
I had an idea. How do voice artists improve their skills besides listening to us?
Well, they often see a vocal coach.
Exactly. So we have the wonderful voice coach on with us, Miss Ali Lopez. Welcome.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Ah, brilliant. It's great to have you on board. We were just talking about before we started recording that this is going to be really fun for me and for you. I don't know about Rach, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Be brave.
I'm feeling very excited to have a guinea pig, Rach. We can have a guinea pig here.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So for those at home that don't know, I'm the newbie voice artist. I've spoken to all these voice artists and I've got the bug. I love what you guys do and I want to do it too. So I figure learning from you guys as well, it's all part of our collective journey as a lovely little community. And speaking of communities, so you've got a lovely little community online called the Voiceover Collective. Tell us about that.
That was born out of a dream to create something that didn't exist when I started 20 years ago. I wished that there was a little community that I could come to and go, what am I doing? Or is anyone else having this problem? Or, you know, any and all of the questions. In my beginning of my journey was quite lonely because of that. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to work as a coach, I need to have a safe space on the internet. I don't love the internet, but I do love what it does for connection and community. And I thought I need to create a safe space for people to come. And we have people from all over the world that have joined Voiceover Collective. And they just sort of, it's exactly like I get teary when I talk about it because it is exactly the dream that I had for it. Is exactly what it is. It's a beautiful, safe community that, you know, we honour kindness and bullying is not allowed to exist. And it is just a place where people can come and get free tips and tricks at the beginning of their journey. So it's been catered to people at the beginning of their journey. And I've just opened it up to professionals who are neurodiverse, who use their voice for their job. So what that looks like. So it's like one big, lovely group. Yeah.
Ali?
Yes.
Aren't we all neurodiverse to be using our voice? I feel like creatives. I don't know one creative who isn't neurodiverse.
I've got dyspraxia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally don't either. I don't know one person who isn't artistic and neurodiverse. No, I totally agree with you.
So can I join? I want to join.
You want to come and join, Eddie? The water's warm.
Yeah. I want in big time. Yeah. All right.
Pedals on.
Yeah. Let's do that. How do you join? How do I join?
You just literally find us on Facebook. So Voiceover Collective. You answer a couple of really simple questions and then you're in.
Great.
Ready to rock and roll.
I'm going to join now. You can ask some questions while I join. I'm joining right now.
He's literally on his phone.
I've got another member. I get excited every time someone joins.
That's so good.
I love it.
Oh, the more the merrier. Ali, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do as a voice coach?
Mm-hmm. So my beginnings were not in voice. They were as a professional dancer. So I went to, I always call it fame school, just to give you like a vision of what it looked like as a classical ballerina. So that was my path. I sort of left the year 10, 11 and 12 of high school. I flip-flopped that and did a performing arts course in the day and then did my study by correspondence at night. It took a huge toll. It was not an easy path, but it was something I was so sort of passionate about. So I started off as a dancer. That morphed into wanting to speak. So moved into the acting sphere and singing. And then I discovered the spoken word and it sort of made a lot of sense. Growing up, my nana introduced me to a lot of poems. She was Scottish and she loved Robbie Burns. So she would introduce me to poems and she'd always correct me she'd go, you've said this word, but I think you actually mean this word. And I lost her this year. She passed away, and I've been reflecting all year on how important her lessons were early on and how they were the beginning of this work. So at sort of 21, 22, I went hard into this and I haven't looked back. I'm 41 and I've been in the industry that long professionally. And it is just my happy place. I think it's because for so long as a dancer, you've got to care what you look like. You've got to be a certain weight. You've got to, like, you can't have pimples on your face. Is this a perfect standard that we hold, often actors and dancers too. I could put the headphones on and no one could see me. And that became like, yay, I'm done with people looking at my face. Like, it might sound silly, but it was so freeing having had so many years of like real scrutiny on what I looked like. And I'm sure that resonates with anyone who's been in that kind of career. It's so driven in what people see. Yeah. So that was my beginning. And then from working professionally, I got to a point 10 years in, I started to have babies and I started to feel really maternal about giving back. Something about giving birth does that to you, I think. And I just wanted to help people. I wanted to iron out the things that I wished had existed at the beginning of my journey that didn't. And I then went into what would it look like if I started coaching, and then narrowed that down further. I actually want to coach people at the beginning. I still do coach people who are well into their career, and I love it. There's nothing quite like working with people at the beginning of the journey, when they are green and they are nervous. And most of the time, my clients come from different modalities in the arts. So they're actors, singers, dancers, models. I have politicians, huge psychologists. Psychology is a really big one. A lot of psychologists do voice work as well because they have amazing voices. And so my love of then sort of being able to decipher my path, really, how I got to this sort of level with the voice. And I've sort of created my own methodology within that. Working with people is just absolutely amazing. Being a coach, I love it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Big journey.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed.
Absolutely. Why would you recommend someone hire a voice coach to control their tricks? What is the benefits of investing in yourself?
Because we live in an information overload time. And the research that my team and I have done when it comes to people trying to DIY their career, and you can, don't get me wrong, that's the thing, there's so much on the internet that you can actually sift through, but that's the magic word there, sift through. Like, how many times do you go and look something up on YouTube and you end up looking at goats that are, I don't know, in pretty bows? We all do that, right? But if you don't have a clear, like, these are the steps I've got to take, it's really overwhelming. It's not the same as other modalities. It's not the same as acting. It requires different skills, even though it's the same. They're sitting next to each other, but you still need different skills for VO. And because we have so much information now and there's so much of a push. I was only talking about this in VoiceOver Collective this week. You might have seen it, Rachel, about home studios and how they've exploded. When I started 20 years ago, people had them. But from the last 10 years, it's been every man and his dog has a studio. And really, we've got to pare it back and go, okay, it's great, but they cost hundreds, thousands of dollars. And if we don't have something to work with, a great foundation, it's like building a house, you're just going to throw that money down the toilet. You're not going to see a return. And at the end of the day, we're running a business here, right? So investing in someone who's going to say, okay, we need to start at the beginning. We need to make sure that you're breathing. We need to make sure that you actually understand how to see a script from a voiceover perspective, and be able to nail it. It's the technical side of that. It's building the foundation. And you'd never put windows in a home without building the foundation, right? It's that kind of analogy.
You're speaking my language. That's what I do with my students as well. Exactly. Yeah. Because you would know, and I mean, this is what I tell my students. I mean, I do a 2-day workshop, right? And I always say to them right at the beginning, you're not going to walk out the world's best voiceover artist. You're not going to be commanding $100,000 a year in voiceover fees, but I'm going to build this foundation so that you can continue to grow and get better faster. That if you didn't do this course, without that foundation, it just doesn't happen. You would see all kinds of people come through your door, much the same as myself, where I often will get a chap who's got the most beautiful deep voice, and his mum or his best mate or the guy at the barbecue says, you should do voiceovers, buddy, you've got a great voice. And they come in, they go, hi, yeah, well, I'm blah 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 blah, and they sound all awesome, right? By about halfway through the course, you can see they're like a deer in the headlights, because they realise just how difficult it is. And having that great voice is one thing, but learning to use it is something else. And it's so much fun to watch. And then you realise, because I've got lots of, this is going to be a really good chat, because I've got lots of tips and tricks to help people along, and lots of techniques in terms of breathing and all that sort of stuff as well. And once they realise that that's what they've got to do, they go, far out, I've got a lot of work to do to become a professional voiceover artist.
Yeah. Oh, I've lost count of the amount of times people have said to me, you just speak for a living. Like, I'm sure I could do that. Like, I'm sure. And then people meet me and go, oh, you sound really different to the radio. I'm like, yes, because it is a different voice. This is the speaking quiet person, like, you know what I mean? That's actually a performance. Yeah, it is really interesting, and I do get those people as well. And I wait for the deer in the headlights, not to be awful, but to be like, it's a lot. It's an awful lot. And I think what I was saying before about the information time that we live in, we also live in a time where people feel like they can buy something to speed up a process. And I really piss people off all the time, because I say, like, how long do you think I worked for nothing before I was actually given a paid gig? I set 2 years aside of doing community radio in this little dingy, fabulous, but dingy little homemade studio that I was sure was going to fall on me every time I started recording. And I just did it continually to build that muscle. And I was paid in like movie tickets and meal tickets, stuff like that. And I think you can't ever buy out that phase. Did
you enjoy that process, those 2 years? Did you have fun? There you go. That's what we want. And that's what I'm asking from my artists as well. If that 2 years is hard work, and nowadays it might actually be 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? And if that's hard work, just give up now and figure something else out, because if you don't have the passion to do it unpaid, then you will never move through to being paid for it. And I tell my up-and-coming artists that as well. I'm really straightforward. I don't do a lot of personal coaching. I do have one client at the moment, and he wanted to, he's just come out of regional radio, and he loves his voice, and he does characters, and he actually does a pretty good job of them. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be really straight with you right now. Work is a bit flat nationwide. There's not a heap going on. So, if you want to be doing this to make, to have it as a career all of a sudden, it's not going to happen. But if you continue to, work on your skills and build your network, you will get some work out of it. And he goes, great, thanks for being honest. Yep, we'll go ahead with the coaching. And I'm like, great, now we've set the parameters for the coaching so that he doesn't expect, he's going to get walk out and get, $1,000 a day in voiceover fees, traipsing from studio to studio, but we can work on a pathway together, and because he's passionate about his voice, it'll be fine, he'll enjoy the process. And he's a bloody good voice, actually. So he'll be fun to work with.
Yeah. And those people do eventually make it, because they just don't give up.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't give up.
Yeah, that's the other thing I'll say. It's like a war of attrition, voiceover artists. I see people with far less, innate talent make it because they just never gave up, whereas highly talented people that just went, no, this is too hard, just fall away. It's interesting to watch that, and I've seen that multiple times in this industry. You see people, you just go, how the hell did he get into that agency, or how's he voicing that, and you just go, I've no idea how I know how they got there. They just didn't give up. Well, everyone else did.
I know. And this is, my journey with my current agent who's in Sydney, Scout Management, that took me 5-6 years to get on their books. And I tell that story because if I had gone, oh, okay, the first time they said, not yet, I never would have got here. I never would have got to this moment with them. And it was like a bulldog. Like I was just like, you're going to hear from me every couple of months for however long it takes. Because I knew I needed a spot in the agency. I knew I could make the money. I knew they could work well with me. I knew all those things, but I'm the only one that knew it at the time. Like I had to just keep going. And I said to my husband at the time, I'm waiting for someone to die. Like
basically, yeah, someone to move out. And they do it on purpose. Like I work with all those agents. They do it on purpose, right? Because they want to sort the men from the boys or the wheat from the chaff, right? So if you don't have a thick enough skin to keep knocking on that door when they say no, then you don't get a spot. And it's as simple as that. Like if you're a bit of a shrinking violet and go, oh, they said no, so I'm a bit scared and I won't try. Perfect. That's it. They've weeded you out. You were never going to make it because you put yourself in a studio where you're dealing with a director who's a complete bastard, and you're getting nothing, and you've got to continue to perform. Yeah, you can't. You're not allowed to cry. You've got to continue to perform as perfectly as when you walked in the door. And that's what they expect from you. And I think it's part of the process with all of these agents. A bit old school, really, for them to say no, 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 no. You'd be blooming lucky in this world if you went to an agent and they said, fantastic, let's sign you up. It just doesn't happen.
Absolutely. And I just kept asking because I had worked out how the agency that I wanted, I knew that I wanted to be with Scout because of the boutique style of agency that they run. And Catherine's full of integrity. And I was like, okay, I think we'd be perfect together. But I just kept asking the question. She'd say, not at the moment. Well, why? I was like, what? I was like, my girls were when they were toddlers, like, why, mummy? Why? And I just kept doing it. And every time I said why, though, she'd give me a reason good enough for me to come back 3 months later. What about now? Why? Okay. And I'd go away and I'd work on it. And she said to me when she did sign me, you actually never stopped. And I would laugh that you'd come into the inbox and I'd say the same thing every time. The subject line would be Ali Lopez from Adelaide. Every single time I'd do the same thing so that it would become annoying in a good way. And she just said, and I'd go, oh my God, here she is again. Here she is again. And she said, every time you did send me something, it was better than the last. Even if it was marginal, it was better than the last. And that's what kept me wanting to give you the feedback that you were craving. So yeah, that was a huge
well, you nailed that
effort.
And you nailed that. And I think because what I say, and you would deal with this when I do the voiceover workshop. I talk to my students about what's their next steps, and I go if you when you're trying to approach an agent. And they say no, and you do say why. One, you're starting to build a relationship with them, and you're actually getting advice from absolute experts in the industry who are at the coalface of casting. They know who the voices are, what the hot trends are in voiceovers and all that sort of stuff. Who's getting booked all the time? They hold all that information. And maybe a bunch of those no's were there was another female similar to you, or maybe there's a couple of females similar to you already on the books, and they're a bit spread thin because that type of female is not getting a lot of work at the moment. But then they maybe had someone drop off, like you said, someone died or whatever, or someone aged out, or the trend changed or whatever, and then suddenly there's a spot for you in that. But you've built that relationship, and you're getting excellent advice from the people who are absolutely at the coalface of it. It's such a clever way to get into an agency, is to not annoy them, but build a relationship and seek their advice, because everyone loves giving advice. Everyone loves going, oh, we'll tell you, you'll come on here, underling, and I will guide you through the process. They feel good about doing that. So very clever way to get in. Hey, I don't want to run out of time, and it's not about us, Ali. It is about Rachel today.
Sure.
So what we've got now, Rachel has a demo which she's insisted that I don't listen to prior to this chat.
Ali's been lucky and she's heard it before.
Okay.
I've already heard it.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say
So what do you want us to
something.
do? Yeah, so what do you want us to do with this?
I'm just going to say something for the folks at home. So we're going to do something a little bit different. You know those makeover shows where everyone loves the glow up process?
Right.
I'm going to put myself out there and be brave and show you and the listeners my demo.
Okay.
So I would love to get your feedback from both you guys, and because you guys are very professional and it's very, very intimidating, but I'm going to be brave with you.
I think you're lucky. In
am
a way,
very
I think you
lucky.
are lucky. I mean, without big noting Ali and myself, but I think Ali is, like such a good vocal coach, but then I'm casting all day, every day. So, I know what people are looking for. So I think on top of that, you've got quite a broad spectrum of advice that you're going to get.
Which is fantastic. And
Absolutely.
I'm very lucky.
Nod to the courage, though. Nod to the courage
Yeah,
that
man.
it takes to do it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a go, throw my hat into the ring as a voice actor, because I was originally just going to be a host on the show. So I'm trying to decide what direction to go with my range. So this demo is very experimental, and I've decided to have a bit of a play. So bear in mind, and please be brutally honest, it's got a bit of animation, it's got a bit of like corporate. So these are my famous last words. So I'm just going to play this for Eddie.
Okay.
You're listening to my demo. Me, that's Rachel Salas. Please leave all questions to the end of the presentation. Thank you. Check out JB Hi-Fi's hot new deals. Shop online at Snooze. It's amazing what a little snooze can do. Wake up with Jess and Jack on Smooth FM. As a busy mum, mess is a fact of life. But with PinoClean wipes, they kill 99% of germs fast, putting time back in your day. It's not clean unless it's PinoClean. BritBox is here with all your favorite shows. I say start your free trial today. BritBox through Paramount Plus. Triceratops snacks on a tree. Count my horns. 1, 2, 3. Hi. Will you be my friend? Ohana means family. Means nobody gets left behind. Yo! Have you been good, girls and boys? I'm one of Santa's elves. Have you been good this year? Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye-bye. Please leave all trash in the garbage cans provided. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Is everybody gone? Can I stop smiling like this? Oh, my cheeks hurt. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, great. Lovely. All right. Can I start?
Yes.
What's the purpose of that demo?
Eventually, I'd like to be a professional voiceover actor and send this off to people and book jobs.
What work?
Well, I'd like to do animation.
Yep.
That's the main thing, like cartoons, and because this is a mix, so it kind of blurs the lines though with target audience. So I am aware of that. I just figured it's a bit of a tasting plate for you guys to have a look at range. But corporate stuff, I think that, or if it's advertising, that's something I'd like to develop a few more skills. I know breathing's a big thing, like having that nice even tone. I know you're really good at that, Ali. Just having that smooth voice, even with like the Shields ads that you've got for your examples, you have the smoothest tone, and I need breathing control help. So that to answer your question, a bit of everything.
I think Ali will talk to you about the breathing and that sort of stuff, because she's pretty good with that technical stuff. I'm looking at it from a director point of view. If I listen to that, okay, first thoughts are, you probably need 2 demos. You need a character demo and a straight demo, would be my guess.
That's what I've got. That's in my notes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So because I'm not casting when you're presenting that to, say, someone who might put you on an animation or what have you, they don't want the straight stuff. They just want to hear all your characters. Then when you're putting yourself forward for commercial work, they don't want to hear the character. So that's my first initial thought on it. And I'll try and keep coming at it from like a technical point of view. I would like, so your voice is fine, but I mean, I'd like to hear production values in the characters. So like sound design, music, sound effects and all that sort of stuff built in, because it feels a little bit underdone. And it does showcase your voice, but to be honest, with demos, when I'm casting, I want to know that that's work you've done in the past, right? Now, that doesn't sound like any work you've done in the past. It sounds like, hey, guess what? I can do this. But it doesn't say to me as a casting person, guess what I've done. It says what I can do, but it hasn't said what I've done. So I want it is a bit raw. So my point of view is I would want to go, oh my God, was she in Bluey? Oh my God, was she in this? Oh my God, was she in that? That's what you want your casting person to say, because they're like, wow, she's done stuff. You know what I mean? That's what I'm sort of thinking. The other one is, and this might be moving into Ali's territory a little bit, but do you nail every character? And I'm sort of thinking, if you don't nail every character, here's the challenge, right? This is, and I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah,
mate, I love you to bits, because you're my co-host, and this is what it's all about. So don't
Rip it
stress.
off like a wax strip. Go for it.
Yeah. When I'm casting for characters, I know them all. I know all the voice artists that I would cast. So if I've got a character, there's probably 10 artists in Australia that I would immediately think of, and then I would try and look at the character and go, it's best suited to Lee Perry, or it's best suited to Rupert Dagus, or it's best suited to, blah, 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 or whatever it might be, because I know them all, right? Then, so your challenge as a character voice is to be better than them, right? Because otherwise they're going to get the work, and that is really hard.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, what I would think is there's probably a couple, maybe one or two in there that I don't know whether it was like 100% there. So if they're not in there, I'd take them out. I would just get rid of it, because if it's not going to be of a standard of, somebody else, it'll be really hard for you to get the work based on it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
That's sort of my brutally honest appraisal there, just to be honest, and because I truly haven't heard it before. So that was like my initial thoughts as well. Yeah.
No, that's really good.
Yeah. What do you think, Ali? What about you?
Okay, so I think half of my notes have been checked off because you just said what I was going to say. So my first point is that I love your ability to play. I love that. Because if I am casting something, which recently when I had to do all of the voices for a particular app that was made for national parks here in South Australia, all of the people I cast for that, I wanted them to be able to play, because I wasn't 100% sure on what I needed to hear. So your ability to play and go there is so fantastic, and I need to just recognise that, because I can bring you back down, but I can't often get people to go up there for me. And Eddie, you probably feel like that too. You can always bring someone back in, but it's really hard to actually get them to go to 100 if they don't start there. So I love that ability. And I really think it's about just fine-tuning. Definitely what Eddie said with regards to a commercial demo voice as a character, we have to decipher them. They have to be different, because somebody casting a commercial job is not going to want to hear the characters and vice versa. And that's wonderful that you actually, I think, with not too much more effort, could have those two demos ready to go.
And that demonstrates diversity in your ability to voice as well. So, when we all start off, we end up with one demo, but as you grow into a bigger and badder artist, you end up going, I need a corporate demo, I need a character demo, I need a acting demo, I need a retail demo. And so that it already shows, it demonstrates to me as a casting person a level of experience to go, which demo do you want? I just pitched for a job for a corporate for my agent, and I'm like, I've got a corporate demo, here it is. And she goes, oh yeah, there it is. So I could pitch exactly what they're looking for, rather than the one size fits all everything demo.
What I just wanted to make mention of is, and we've spoken about this, Rachel, just the 10 seconds that you're going to get with someone listening to your demo. I mean, I don't know if the statistics have changed, Eddie, but for a long time it was a casting director generally will listen to the first 10 seconds. So what that does is it makes us hyper aware of how does our intro sound and what is that first track on a demo, I think always has to just hit, because you've got to get somebody to go, fuck, and sorry to swear, but keep listening. Do you know what I mean? Like that you want the person to listen. What I found with this excerpt of work is nothing was long enough for me. I wanted to actually, it was more of a bit like this, and I speak with my hands all the time. I wanted to hear something for longer than you gave it. So I think those choices of what tracks go on each demo are so important, and the fact that you need to be able to nail each one. I always have this conversation with everyone that I work with. The deciding, excuse me, I've had a cold. The deciding moment where you go, does this warrant being on the demo or not, is a real serious moment. You actually have to be really often brutal when it comes to what is allowed to be on the demo and what's not. If you can't absolutely 150% nail it for me and then tomorrow go into a studio and do it exactly the same, it doesn't warrant being on the demo. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ali, in regard to that first 10 seconds, I'm listening to demos all day, every day. And honestly, sometimes I'll sit down with my writers and we will listen to demos for maybe 1 or 2 seconds. And because we know straight away, like I pretty much know most of the artists anyway, but I'll be just like, and so that first greeting, like, hey, my name is Rach and this is my voiceover demo or whatever it might be, is that first impression. Like I'm already, if you're with an agency like Scout, RMK, EM Voices or whatever, I'm already expecting a big level from the artists that are in those stables. So the intro actually goes, oh, Ali, yeah, she sounds great. Let's have a listen. First track. I go, what do you reckon, guys? Yeah, nah, done. Decision made one way or another. If, for example, I'm looking for something specific, I might, and the first read isn't hitting that, I might try and skip to find the read that I want, but pretty rarely, to be honest. The first few seconds are crucial, absolutely crucial. So, yeah, that's really important because people don't listen past that. And they never listen to the end. Never. I've put Easter eggs at the end of my demos. I've put weird shit at the end of my demo because I'm like, are you still here?
Well, I think in 20 years, here's an interesting thing. In 20 years, I've had one client say to me, can you do it like track 3 on your demo?
Yeah, sometimes I get that
hang on,
too.
I've just got to work out what track 3
3 was. Yeah.
Yeah, and go back and listen to it. And that's the first and only time anyone's ever said that.
Do you know what? It's
interesting. So they were listening for something specific.
Sometimes I'll have clients. So I'll with casting, sometimes clients will want options. So I'll give them 3 voices, right? And I'll pick Ali Lopez and they'll go, I like her. We want her to sound like she does in track 3. So probably maybe 3 or 4 times a year that will happen, and then I'll get the artist in and they'll go, the client really likes track 3, and some artists go, oh yeah, gotcha, that was that Visa commercial, gotcha, I'll do it, right? And they seem to know it. Whereas if anyone asks me for track 3, because I change my demos all the time because I'm, as I said, like I'm trying to move with the time, so I'm like probably changing them far more often than I need to. And I'm like, track 3 of which demo? Was it the 2025.1, 2, 3 or 4 or 5th version where I changed the blah blah blah, change the order of things? I'm like, why don't you just tell me how you would like me to sound?
Yes, exactly. So I think just deciphering for you, Rachel, what you wanted to work on first. I think that's your first. I think the clarity piece in anything that you do has got to be there, because then you can really go, okay, and go down that rabbit hole and create something great. So if it was animation and character work that you want to pursue first, then that would be the demo that you look towards. And then, but if it's commercial, then you want to look and start doing your homework and listening to everything that you can and great commercial demos and going, okay, like what does that make me feel? What does that offer the artist? What's their interest? Get really curious and inquisitive about demos that are really like, and I always say, look at the big 3 agencies in Australia and then listen to the demos and go, okay, I really like that one, or I love how different that is, or start being a bit of a schoolmaster of what it is that you're trying to do. So I think it's just the working out piece of where you would want to go first. I wouldn't recommend doing a commercial and an animation at the same time. I think it's a bit confusing in the beginning. I think decide which way first and then be a student of it. And yeah, I mean, we've just got to always think about demos. I hold demos in such high regard because they really are our business card in this industry. They really do have to be of a certain standard. And I mean production and everything else that goes into it. The best of your ability, the best that your money can buy you in this moment. And I always say too, as much as I put so much emphasis on that, remember that you're not any further along than you are today. And that's completely 150% fine. You actually are not going to have the same demo as you will in 6 months' time and a year's time. And that's the whole idea, is that they just keep growing, but you've got to start. You've got to start somewhere. What I see a lot of people do is put off this time because it's scary. And because it's like, I can't make a decision. No, you have to decide on. What I say with a lot of new people is 3 or 4 tracks nailed is what I want to hear, rather than 8 to 10, just because you think there needs to be 8 to 10 on there.
100%, 100%. And on top of that, I've actually shortened my demos, my new ones.
So have I.
Yeah, it's like a minute 50. And because what I used to do is go, oh, that's a really good retail, that's a really good acting, that's a really good storytelling, that's a really good blah, blah, blah. And I've had like two examples of each style, or 2 or 3 samples of each style, sort of swapping around. I'm like, no, put the best voice acting, the best retail, the best storytelling, the best that, and then it shortens it down. Because what I think the other danger of a demo is the more stuff you've got in it, the more opportunity there is for a director to go, oh, he didn't really nail that. Whereas if you just put the best in and you go, I agree, that is my best version of that type of read, then they can go, oh, and then they want to hear more. So they bloody book you to hear more.
That's right. Yeah, leave them wanting more is yeah, it's true. And yeah, I do. I much prefer a demo that nails it, or, over something that waffles on. The minute that you start feeling like something's waffling on, you've lost the audience, whereas you really do want someone to listen and go, whoa, right, okay. You want them to have an experience listening to it. Yeah. I love it. I love the anatomy of a demo. I think it's actually so fun to put together. And I am the queen of intros in terms of I actually put emphasis on intros. My intro doesn't sound scripted. It was 100% scripted because I knew the vibe that I wanted to go with and how I wanted someone to feel listening to it. So that kind of thought and that kind of reverence for it, I think also has to live there, because it can be really off-putting when you hear someone just go, yeah, here's my demo. Like it sets the tone. You're actually asking someone to come into your world. So have that kind of reverence for intros as well, Rach, where why would someone want to listen? Well, these are the reasons why you want to listen. Come into my world and I'll show you, that kind of thing. And I don't know if you feel the same, Eddie. It's just one of my little things is that intros have to sing.
Yeah, do you know, I intros are a weird one. So my new intro just says, "G'day, my name's Eddie Bye," or something like that. It's very straight. And now I base that off. Go and have a listen, and I encourage our listeners to go and have a listen to RMK Nick O'Rourke, his latest demo, the way he introduces himself. Now, he is, one of the top male artists in the country, obviously. Everyone in our industry knows him. He is absolutely brilliant, bang-up guy as well. He just goes, Nick O'Rourke. And then it starts, right? And it is kind of like got a chic to it. And I'm like, ooh, yeah. And I'm like,
But that might be intimidating for others to do. It's like the James Brown's thing where you announce your name because you've got that power behind it. He's got that to back him up. Whereas if you're starting out, it's very intimidating where it's like, I haven't done butt kiss. It's like, you've got to come across as like...
Hey, Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
That attitude of, I've done Bubcast, I'm just starting out. It's like, no, it's your opportunity in that audio to command the audience, or the audience is directors and casting people. You can command them straight away. This is what I'm talking about. That's why I'm saying, like, with a demo like that, because you don't have the sound design sitting behind it, it feels like, again, like these are things you can do rather than things you've already done. Now, if you fake it till you make it with your demo, you'll get the work. Whereas if you go, I'm just starting out, it'd be really nice if I got a job, or like, give me the work, you're a bit more direct about it, then it's a bit more commanding, a bit more authoritative.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm all for creative intros. I don't like them going super long because as a director, I want to get to that first read pretty quick. Some of them are really clever. And we laugh. Some of them do waffle on. And do you know what? I'll be honest. I'll sit down with my writers, and if we don't like the intro and they're blah, blah, blahing, we just go, forget it. I know this person's going to be annoying in the studio because they've given me a 30-second preamble on what they've had for breakfast. And I'm like, I don't care for that, And so sometimes I'm like, it's annoying. So sometimes I'd rather it be on the smaller side to get to that first commercial or to get to that first piece of audio.
It needs
because
to be
that's what I'm
punchier.
listening for. Yeah, because often we're under a bit of a high-stress situation where I've got a cast, I've got to present 3 options to a client, and it has to be done now. So I'm smashing through the demos. And I don't just listen to the website. I'll ring the agent and I'll go, I'm booking a 40-something-year-old male. He's older but not too old. He's a bit gruff, blah 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 blah. And I'm giving them a bit of a brief. And while I'm on the phone, they go, "Have you tried this guy?" And I'm listening. I go, "No, no, oh, hang on. Yep, I'll park him. He sounds all right. Anyone else? Yep, okay, that one. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, give me another option. Great." And then I'll go, "Awesome." And then I'll copy paste, get their demos, put them in the email, and send it off to the client so that they can pick their voice. So we're pretty fast. That's how fast that sort of stuff happens. So if you got like, hey, my name's Eddie, and I like long walks along the beach and sunsets, and I'd really like to be in your studio. Like that one annoys me. It's just like I'd really love to be, to work with you in the studio and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, when they ask for work, I'm just like, no. But then you hear someone like Nick O'Rourke. And then it just bang into his first cracking ad. You just go, oh, that guy's cool, and I think that's kind of like the thing. So like they're the things like you can command it. You don't have to go ask for work. You can almost demand it by being you've earned that, right?
Channel, you're in a badass.
Well, just be like you got to be confident, I think. And that's the thing. Like that confidence is like, oh, they've got the balls to do that in the demo. I know they're going to perform well in the studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was just going to say, I got a job interview and this lady said, so why should we hire you? Like as if I've got all these options. Why should I pick scruffy old Rach? And I said, because I'm awesome. And she was taken back by it and gave me the next stage for the interview on the spot.
Brilliant.
So,
yeah, good. And
like,
that stuff works,
Yeah,
and I think
cockiness works.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I mean, we don't want wankers.
Yes.
But
Fine line.
Self-assured is probably more the word I would go for rather than cocky, because I don't like working with cocky artists. I like it to be an interactive process with my artists. I don't tell them what to do, and I don't expect them to tell me what to do either. We work on the work together until we're both happy. That's the best way it happens with a voiceover artist. You don't direct, you do direct them, but you don't tell them what to do, right? So yeah, I think just be selfish. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and that comes into language. This is why the conversation around the language that you use in an intro. I remember my mentor is Abby Holmes, amazing female voice artist in Australia, and she drilled me a couple of years ago on the wording in my intro. And she went, why are you saying that you hope that they like it? They will like it. And I went, oh, hang on. And what transpired out of that was like, be very aware of every word you're actually saying. I say at the end of mine, I look forward to working with you. I genuinely mean that because I think I'll get the job. Like you'll give me the job, we'll work together and it'll be great. I'm really excited for that. But it took a mindset shift. She actually went through every line and went, but it's very hoping and wishing. And it's very subservient. It's very unsure of yourself, whereas you are sure of yourself. And I was like, am I? Like, I wasn't sure. Like, it was really a fantastic moment because she just distilled it down for me in language that is confident versus not sure. You could hire me, but if you want to hire someone else, that's fine. Like, it's not fine. I want the job. You know what I mean? That was a good lesson.
You're not a maybe, you're a definite.
That's it, yeah.
You're a definite.
Now, Ali, I mean, there's a couple of other little things that I picked up on. I don't know whether you want to talk about that. I mean, like, I reckon in the first couple of spots, it might have been like the first one, there was a little bit of addiction thing, I reckon, to work on for you. I can't remember which track it was, but I just heard a bit of addiction thing. And then you're already aware of there is some breathing as well. Look, and I think when you're doing those big characters, and I'm not an expert with characters, that's why we're so good together, right? I reckon a lot of those high energy characters require a huge amount of quality breathing to get them out and get them out properly.
I feel puffed out by the end of it. I'm like,
yeah. And like, for example, if you were to get a character job where you're in a studio for 6-7 hours a day for months, you'll kill yourself. You know, you'll run out of voice immediately. So you need to learn to look after your voice with those characters. The good news on both of those things is they're easily fixed, and I'm sure Ali will be able to jump in and help. Like, you know, with exercises and training, you'll get it. You know, diction is a really tricky one because you want to say everything perfectly and pronounce your T's and S's and everything just absolutely beautifully, but we don't want it to sound like you're trying too hard. It has to sound natural. So that's a real challenge. But
I've over-conditioned it, though, because I've tried to get it precise with things. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, you want, so I can't think of an example, but
I do that a lot, Lou, and that's something I do pick up on, Lou, because I've got producer brain on where I want things to be perfect and I'm over analytical about what I do. Whereas if you're trying to be so perfect, it, like you said, it comes across as less natural and more rehearsed.
So that comes with practice and experience, and Ali will will confirm on this, I'm sure of it. But also, mate, tongue twisters, just do them. Right, you've got to do them.
Is this what I was just about to say?
Yeah,
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Yeah. Red lorry, yellow lorry.
Pick of peppers. Yeah, absolutely.
And I know it sounds really naff, and it's fun when I do the voiceover workshop and I go, righto, guys, we're going to do tongue twisters, and they all roll their eyes. And I'm like, this is how you get better, because what it is every time you do a tongue twister, not only does it train your mouth, but it trains your brain. So you've got like little neuroconnectors in your brain, and every time you do a tongue twister and you can't get through it because your brain sort of flips out, that's terrific, because it means that the more you practice that particular tongue twister, the better you'll get, and those neuroconnections in your brain will connect, and they're like riding a bike. They never go away.
The muscles.
And then it comes out of your mouth. Then you go, how do I go, Sally sells seashells by the seashore. And, you keep stuffing it up and you go, okay, I'll slow it right down. Sally sells seashells, right? Go to that pace. You'll always get it at that. Gradually speed it up. You're connecting those neurons in your brain. You're training your muscles in your mouth and your tongue to do what it's supposed to do. And then what it does is those muscles are now exercised, like you're working out at a gym. Because you're never going to say Sally sells seashells by the seashore in an ad, right? That's not going to happen. But you'll get ads where you need to go at a bazillion miles an hour, like terms of I freak people out in the voiceover workshop where I go, terms and conditions apply, see in-store for details. Right? Right? You can do that at 1 million miles an hour, right? Absolutely 1 million miles an hour. That's because I've done it 1 trillion times before, right? And it's practice that got me there. And so when I have people with poor diction, sorry, Ali, I'm stealing all your thunder. I bet I am.
No, it's really good. It's really good.
And that's their key problem is diction or breathing. I'm like, brilliant, because we can fix that. It's going to take time and practice and effort, but that is fixable. If you're stiff and wooden and this and that, they're a lot harder to fix. Those ones are a bit harder to fix. But diction is like literally, effort in equals result out. Don't you think, Alex? I'll let you have a chat. Sorry, I'm mumbling.
Yeah, look, that's my, and you would have heard me, Rachel, because you've been in Voiceover Collective for a while. I bang on about tongue twisters and reading aloud like there's no tomorrow. And I always do recommend that when you're at the beginning of your journey, start out with 2 minutes, because 2 minutes you'll go, gee, that was hard. And then the next week build up to 3. By the time you are getting it, we should be looking at 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week in the beginning. And I don't ever ask people to find more time for this. Like, you can be super creative when you're in the car. You go, okay, I've got to drive here every day. I'm going to spend 20 minutes doing what I need to do. And you will memorize those tongue twisters. You can get them online. I've got a ton that I've done literally for years and years and years. I'm boring. I do the same ones because I know they work. But still, before every single audition, I do 10 minutes of tongue twisters. And that is the only way that I nail the 15-second, 30-second radio ads, because most of the time they have far too many words. And I'll go, hang on, let me just see if I can bang that out without you having to rearrange the sentences, etc. It's the only way that you can keep 2 times like that, is being able to have that availability, flexibility with your mouth, lips, tongue, and it comes from tongue twisters. And reading aloud. Reading aloud's another thing that I love, because, and you can't do that while you're driving, because it's taking a piece of script that you've hopefully never seen before and trying to make it sound natural. And you're going to feel like an idiot in the beginning, and you're going to feel really clunky, and you're going to have to start your sentences again. But it's about building discipline to start the sentence again. Don't get frustrated. Just start again and keep reading. For ages, at the last 2 months, I've been doing a loud reading with an RAA magazine, because it's not interesting to me. So I have to make sure, like, how do I make this sound appealing? If I got a job tomorrow for RAA, how would I make this sound a way that would pique someone's interest? And I do recommend people literally pick up books that they have no interest in versus books that they love, medical journals, like literally anything you can get your hands on that's going to get you to start speaking with fluidity is really important. And then you marry that with your tongue twisters and belly breathing, learning how to belly breathe rather than up here. It's puffy and it's anxiety producing. So if you know that belly breathing is not your thing, when you're sitting on the couch at the end of the day, again, I try and just pair things into people's lives. Put your hands on where your belly button is and see if you can actually move your hands with your belly breathing. You'll see how much you're probably up here breathing and how much you've got to bring it down.
That's actually really helpful, because with breathing, I've got a lot of nervous energy and I've got to get myself centered. Especially with those smooth sounding commercials. So like there's a great one you do with Shields, and you have this smooth, calm kind of corporate voice, and it is just fantastic. Tamara Linky does a great version of that. And I just think, how the heck are you able to do that? And she's got a singer voice, so she's used to her breathing. That's something I need to work around, because I'm naturally a ball of nervous energy. So it's kind of going against the grain, but practicing is really important. The other thing I do that's really, really good, and I noticed with one of your demos with the very cranky bear, my little son, I was actually reading that the other day, and I'm trying to get the different tone of the different characters and trying to practice over, because a lot of it, because it's rhyming, it's like tongue twisters and it's got that bounce. And Nancy Cartwright mentioned with her characters, and this also really applies with this situation, like Nelson's kind of got like a sing-song approach. Like it's like, ha. And you kind of have that kind of tune in your head, which helps me memorize it with the rhymes, where it's like, da, 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 or we're doing it to Mary Had a Little Lamb. And I think one of the biggest things I learned from acting school is when you're exercising on a cross trainer and learning your lines at the same time, you're kind of focusing on 2 things at once, but it helps you absorb your lines better. It's such a weird trick, but I think because I'm trying to focus on a tune for my son and make it sing-songy and joyful and focusing on my tone, and I could read this book 10 times a day, which for a lot of people, especially to an audience, you feel quite vulnerable. But I'm like, this is my little son. He likes to play. And like you said, you said I was good with playing with my voice. That's what I love doing. And it's so much fun. You get to, rather than thinking, oh, this is such a critical thing for myself to have these sessions, because it's like going to the gym. You think, oh, God, this is going to be a pain in the butt. It's more of an opportunity where you're like, I get to do this. This is good. This is going to be helpful for me, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to see results. And I think that's going to be fantastic for any aspiring voice artists out there, that this is something to pay attention to with breathing.
Most definitely. And once you do that and you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to do it every day, just what you're going to do, like brushing your teeth, then you get to that wonderful point where it's not so much about the technicals anymore, because they're there. You know that they're there. You get to a point where you go, they kind of say, I've got you. And then you get to do the the artistic side of things, which is decide, how do we want someone to feel in this read? Who are we speaking to? What's the tone of this read? Okay, let's do it like this, then try it like this, then try it like this. And that's where the artistry, and I've got goosebumps because it's just still, after 20 years, it's so exciting to me. That's where it all comes alive, and that's what makes you uniquely you, because of your decision, or working with directors and casting directors. This is how we want it to sound. And when all that comes together, it's so beautiful, because it's, like you're saying in the beginning, it's so much work. It's so much harder than anyone realises.
Exactly. Like when you're trying to get things together, and we had a brief break in between with Eddie's going, are you okay, Lo, with everything? Like, I mean, because you've got two of us critiquing you, which is really beautiful of him to do, because, again, you mentioned a lot with the voiceover collective, Lo, about mental health, and people second guess what they're doing and get in their head. And I'm very good at doing that, but I found when I'm doing a character, I'm in the zone, and that gives me my confidence to really like put the gas on the pedal. But when you're nervous, and especially if it's a new script, you're like, you second guess yourself. But you've, like you were saying with reading, and doing it every day, you get confident over time. It's bit by bit by bit, and that really shows in your voice performance.
That's experience is what that is. And there's, I don't know, Ali, you've been doing this for a long time, as have I. You just can't beat experience, and you can't rush experience. You can't get experienced in a fortnight. I've been doing voiceovers for since all my life, but like really, since like the late 90s, really being paid for it. I still learn every single day. I get better every single day. Just having this chat, I reckon I'm a better voiceover. I've learned
I feel
stuff.
the same.
Yep. That's why you should stay tuned to us, so with our podcast, because you will learn more. It will make you a better voice artist.
Yeah, indeed.
There's your plug.
Yeah. So I think, really, to sort of summarise with your demo, I think, first things first. So I think, we decide on what sort of demo it is, or whether you have two, or even maybe three, or whatever. Split them up, get them set aside. We nail the characters. We build some sound design around it to make it sound as authentic and as real and as like it actually happened as possible. Then around with the diction and the breathing and all that sort of stuff, they are, as Ali said, they are the exercises that need to be done every single day, because you'll always get better at it. And you'll get this, Ali, you'll read a script and you just go, cripes, that is hard to say. Like I had a job, I had an artist in this morning. What was I doing? Or did I do something? Sorry, maybe. Oh, no, I voiced something this morning, and it was like, I had to kind of split the sentence in half to get to the next syllable. And I'm like, but I want to run it together. And like, this is what a voice artist thinks. They go, I want it to flow, but I don't want to lose my diction in between those two words. And I'm like, how do I not flow them, but make them sound flowy? And you just go, cripes, this is hard. And you sit there and you just go, okay, I'll try it a couple of times. And then you sort of, okay, yeah. And they go, all right, now I can break it. I can stop and start, but I can make that gap really small so that it almost feels flowy, but I'm able to get my T into my S or whatever it might be really tight and neat. And I'm like, that's the thing. So you still learn every single day. So you get better every day. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very excited. I'm excited for you.
Good.
I'm excited for your potential. I think it's really good. What else, Ali? What else would you say?
So yeah, just the deciphering of what demo to go with first, and then your decision on scripts is exciting, I think. I think especially because you love character work, really think about those books or excerpts of a character that speak to you, because when you're new to it, that often will give you, because you love it, you'll invest in the different ways you can do it. There'll be passion behind it. The fact that your eyes lit up then when you were talking about reading The Cranky Bear to your son, and how that becomes like that's the number one thing to you is whether he actually, because kids are the best. I always say to everyone, you need to sit down with a group of 4-year-olds and read them a book, and they'll go, nah, or they'll sit and listen to you. Whether you can bring in their energy and excitement and attention is so relevant to whether you're nailing it or not, because they'll literally tell you, no, you're not.
Straight away.
And they'll walk away.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
They are the best audience. And my son's
fabulous.
got such a short attention span. So there's this really great book, and I used one of the pages as part of the demo. It's this dinosaur one where it's counting dinosaurs, where it's like, one tasty bone sits on the floor. It's mine, says the T-Rex with a roar. And I'll do each dinosaur with a different voice.
Great.
And like we did
Triceratops snacks on a tree. Count my horns. 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's
it's
what's
punchy, so it's helped me with recording.
Because you're used to, is he going to walk off or is he going to stay?
Yes.
You've already got that, like that energy around, like, come on, this is really exciting. And that's perfect for character work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do. My kids are all old and buggered now, so I don't read them stories. But I used to read them stories, right? And I you know what kids are like? They want the same bloody book every night, right? And so as a voiceover artist, you go, how can I change that character tonight?
Love it.
And I'd muck around and I'd be like, and then the princess said, come on into my castle. And the kids would be like, Dad, princesses don't sound like that. And I'm like, they do tonight. You know? And
Sounds
I don't
like
know.
Bluey. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Love it.
I was just thinking that it was story time.
I love it so much.
Yeah, it is brilliant, and so you, even if you are stuck in this rut of your kid wanting to hear the same book every night, it doesn't mean you have to do the same character, or it's an opportunity to perfect that character, but it's also an opportunity to go, no, the princess doesn't sound like that today, or that dinosaur sounds different today. If you've got 10 dinosaurs, they can all sound different. That's your challenge. You go, how do I make them sound different tonight? You know, and then you're exploring with your voice, you know, because ultimately with kids, when you read them books, you've got a captive audience, you know, like, you know, they're all tucked up in bed. You know what? You can muck around. It's up to you. You're running the show. You know what I mean?
True.
You're running the demo.
And it's and they're the best audience. They're the best audience because you know there's that feeling that you can't really put into words when they're in there with you and they are part of the story and they're laughing and they're loving it. They're going, do it again. Like, it's just, I love that. Yeah, I love it.
Well done, Rach. Good work. Well done, Rach. It's a good demo, and I think we've given a few tips, haven't we, Ellie?
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that helps.
It has. It's been amazing, and I hope that helps the listeners. So wherever you are on your voiceover journey.
Brilliant.
Okay. So we've got, to end this podcast, we've got a challenge for all our guests. So, you know, the whole inner world stick, where they do the trailer narrations. Our challenge is to get all our guests to do their version of Inner World. Now, this could be in a funny voice. This could be in the stereotypical Inner World one man does voice.
Inner World.
Yes.
That one.
So we get them to do the trailer narration about how this interview went. So it's pressure's on for us.
So you've got to do it,
Oh, my
Ellie.
God.
Yeah. So
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you got to dig deep.
Oh, okay. So I'm starting with Inner World.
Yeah.
In a world where 3 people were chatting.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that.
And it doesn't have to be like, the diction doesn't have to be like proper and sensible. You can say some bloke and some
it does.
Sheila.
It has to be perfect.
Like it can be whatever you want it to be. You've got free reign.
Okay. All right. In a world where 3 people came together, we learnt, what do you need for a really good demo? Is it breathing? Is it script choice? Is it fun? And we learned that reading to kids is probably the best way forward.
Brilliant. So
Nailed it.
Lovely.
Oh, love that. I'm going full Oprah. Oh. Thank you.
You get a car and you get a car.
You get a demo. You've got a demo. Everybody's got a demo. Woo!
That's so good.
Well, Ali Lopez, thank you so much for your time. It was really insightful, and it's great to have a comrade so we can both work on Rach together. It was really, really fun. So thank you.
Thank you. It was. I'm just so honoured to have been chatting to you this morning. I learned so much just chatting, and thanks again, Rach, for being vulnerable and courageous enough to put your demo out there. That's the only way that we learn.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's very sweet of you. Thank you so much for helping me. Both
Brilliant.
of you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to This Is My Voice, the podcast about all things voice performance with the world's best voice artists. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a review and don't forget to subscribe. This episode has been brought to you by the Australian Radio School and delivered to your ears by the Ozcast Network.